Colorado's Best with Paula Haddock and Joanna Canals.
Welcome to Colorado's Best. I'm Paula Haddock.
And I'm Joanna Canals. You know, it's not an easy part of life to deal with, but an important one. We're talking about estate planning today.
Yes, when it comes time to do this, you want someone you can trust to help you. That's where Althaus Law comes in. Here to tell us more about their services, we have attorney Jeff Althaus here on the end, and we have Kristen Kelly. She's also an attorney with the firm. So thank you so much for being here. This is such an important topic. First, if you don't mind, Jeff, explain exactly what is estate planning.
Sure, and thanks for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. But that's a good question. We get that one a lot. So estate planning is more so an umbrella term that covers all the documents that not only protect you and your family, but your stuff. And it's not just after you pass away, it's more so while you're here too. And I always like to tell people it's not just the documents, it's the whole picture. So a lot of people have savings accounts or checking accounts, retirement plans, life insurance. So estate planning is putting a nice little bow over all of that and making sure it gets where you want it to go rather than the state deciding.
So Kristen, is a simple will enough for people out there?
You know, actually a lot of our clients come in and that's the one document they care the most about. And a simple will, whether it's a simple will or you've got a complicated thought process, a will is actually not enough to protect you. A will deals with distribution after you've passed away, whereas there are documents that protect you now. And I care more about those documents because they protect you and your stuff while you're still here. That's powers of attorney. You've got both medical and financial. Essentially, with those documents, you say, if I'm incapacitated, and that might be Alzheimer's, dementia, or maybe I'm in a coma because I was in a car accident, who do I want to call those shots for me? Who's going to make my medical decisions? Who's going to make financial decisions and pay my bills? Those documents are really important because if you need them and don't have them, they're not optional, they're mandatory. So if you don't have the documents and need them, we're going to go to what's called a guardianship and conservatorship hearing. It's a very expensive day in court. You're going to spend thousands of dollars where a judge who doesn't know you or who you would want to make those decisions is going to pick somebody, and it might be an attorney who's going to charge you an hourly rate. When you have powers of attorney, you stop all of that. Also really important, the document I'm actually most passionate about is called a living will. I hate the name for it because it has nothing to do with living and it's not really a will, it's actually an advance directive. It's that document that says, I'll pick on myself, if 2 doctors have said Kristen has no brain capacity, I don't know I'm alive, I can't communicate, I never will again, how many days do I want to stay on life support? And the reason I'm so passionate about that document is because it's a really hard decision to leave to somebody else. And if ever there's a document that's going to cause fights because we didn't have it, it's that one.
Sure, there's no one's going to agree over the timeline of that. And so you get to take control of what you would like to happen in your own life that way.
Exactly.
Incredible. So many different terms, you know, we've talked will, living will, power of attorney. There's also one called a trust. And I've always thought a will is a trust. I mean, are they different things? Are they similar?
They're definitely different.
Okay.
So the main difference, before I dive into what each one actually is pretty simple. A will normally is going to guarantee that you're going through the probate process, and a trust can avoid that process. Now, there are some exceptions back and forth, but essentially a will is just an instruction sheet for that probate process. And inside your will, you get to name what's called your personal representative. Most people have heard that term called an executor. They're the exact same term, but really that person's in charge of the show after you pass away. Another thing you can do in your will, which is really important, is name that guardian for minor children. So if you're a parent with minor children, that guardianship will say, if we're unable to be parents, whether we're incapacitated or pass away, who takes care of the kids? And that can avoid foster care. So insanely important, but the flip side of that is that trust. So a trust is still a set of papers that says where you want your stuff to go, just like a will, except when you make a trust, you're making an entity, and it can actually own property. And now you're not naming a personal representative, but you're naming what's called a trustee, and you can be that trustee. So we actually, it's kind of weird, we transfer all your property into the trust, so you get to say you don't own anything anymore. And then as trustee, you're still in charge of that trust. So you can still control it, you just technically on paper don't own it anymore. Okay. And it's that weird ownership relationship that lets the trust avoid probate.
This is such good information, vital information. Thank you so much for sharing that part with us. And I know people will probably want to know more, but at least it, it gets people going, saying, you know what, I really do need to take care of these things. So Althaus Law, you have a wonderful offer for Colorado's Best viewers today. If you call today, book your free initial consultation and get a better plan for the rest of your life. You can also find Jeff's book. He wrote this book. It's called You Only Die Once. It's available online on Amazon.com as well as Kindle devices. Now here's their number, 720-594-4475. Write that down. And also it is althauslaw.com. That's their website, althauslaw.com. Thank you for such great information. Appreciate it.